archaeological relics. In consequence, Kando and George Isaiah were free to pursue their clandestine transactions with impunity. George Isaiah reported the discovery to his ecclesiastical leader, the Syrian Metropolitan Archbishop Athanasius Yeshua Samuel, head of the Syrian Jacobite Church in Jerusalem. Academically, Athanasius Yeshua Samuel was a naive man, untutored in the sophisticated scholarship needed to identify, much less translate, the text before him. The late Edmund Wilson, one of the earliest and most reliable commentators on the Qumran discovery, wrote of Samuel that he was not a Hebrew scholar and could not make out what the manuscript was. He even burned a small piece of it and smelled it to verify that the substance was indeed leather or parchment. But whatever his academic shortcomings, Samuel was also shrewd, and his monastery, St. Mark's, contained a famous collection of ancient documents. He thus had some idea of the importance of what had passed into his hands. Samuel later said he first learned of the Dead Sea Scrolls in April 1947. If chronology has hitherto been vague and contradictory, however, it now becomes even more so, varying from commentator to commentator. But sometime between early June and early June, Samuel requested Kando and George Isaiah to arrange a meeting with the three Bedouin who'd made the original discovery to examine what they'd found. When the Bedouin arrived in Jerusalem, they were carrying at least 4 scrolls and possibly as many as 8. The 3 they'd originally found themselves, plus 1 or more from whatever they or Kando and George Isaiah had subsequently plundered. Unfortunately, the Metropolitan had neglected to mention the Bedouins' impending visit to the monks at the monastery of St. Mark. When the Bedouin appeared with their dirty, crumbling and ragged parchments, themselves unshaven and insalubrious looking, the monk at the gate turned them away. By the time Samuel learned of this, it was too late. The Bedouin, understandably resentful, wanted nothing further to do with Metropolitan Samuel. One of them even refused to have any further dealings with Kando and sold his portion of the scrolls, a third share which amounted to 3 scrolls, to the Muslim Sheikh of Bethlehem. Kando managed to purchase the shares of the remaining scrolls and sold them in turn to Metropolitan for a reported £24. This catch was believed at first to consist of 5 scrolls, but proved eventually to contain only 4, one of them having broken in 2 of the four texts. One was a well-preserved copy of the both of Isaiah from the Old Testament, the parchment of which unrolled to a length of 24 feet. The other three, according to the nomenclature later adopted by